Falling from a roof, Kim tries to make sense of this. He was going to graduate soon. Has he endured all these hardships for nothing? But he is sure of something. This is the day that he died, but not exactly, as he survived in a vegetative state. Inside, one of the nurses urges his grandma to pull the plug, as she has not seen any patient wake up after 3 months in such a state. She gets mad, shouting that she will never give up on her grandson. After he fell from the rooftop, he was diagnosed as a vegetative person. He can feel touch, and even hear his grandma's cries for him. He thinks that it will be all right. As he has never been sick before, surely he could stand up soon. But unfortunately, in this dark world, he isn't allowed to do a single thing. His grandma grabs his hand, saying that she can't give up on him, as she took Kim and raised him after the loss of his parents. She begs for a sign from him. Anything would do. Kim tries to move with all his might, but to no avail. Later, his brother also visits, saying that the people who bullied Kim are now bullying him. He can't take much more of this. Grandma also started working in a restaurant to earn money for his hospital fee, but she got injured in the process. His brother laments this ever happening, pleading with all his might to Kim, screaming for him to wake up. Kim, in his loneliness, thinks that this all must be a dream, and if he waits a little longer, he will surely wake up from this nightmare. No such luck, as 3 years later, he is still there, noting that his brother, Hyun-jin, hasn't visited in a long time. Some nurses talk near him, saying that his grandma fainted, but they don't seem distraught, as now they can turn up the volume of the TV. He thinks about all the people who have done him wrong: Park Min, Cho Young-taek, Jung Min-ho, Kang Chang, Oh-dae, Kim Young, and even those teachers who were covering these bastards up. If by some miracle, he goes back to the time this all began, he will destroy every single one of them. He thinks about his revenge, beating them continuously in his head. But years pass, 4, 5, 6, 7, with revenge still on his mind. But 10 years pass, and he gives up. Kim finally sheds a single tear, pleading with anyone to end his life. Suddenly a man pops up in front of him, causing Kim to open his eyes. He wakes up, thinking it's just another day of the same. But it is not, as he is inside his classroom. Kim thinks it's probably just another dream, but he pinches his cheek and feels pain, causing him to take a pen for confirmation. He stabs the pen into his leg, and sure enough, this is no dream. He really came back. Behind him, he sees one of his bullies, Park, beating the snot out of someone, with everyone watching helplessly. Kim notes that this situation is the starting point of all his pain. It's that time. He goes behind Min, saying one word: stop. Park laughs at his bravery, belittling Kim with his silver tongue. But suddenly, Kim punches him directly in the cheek, causing the bully to stop talking. It seems that Kim has come back to his freshman year of high school, to the moment he has been wishing for all this time. The day everything in his life changed, Kim can still remember it vividly. Park was listening to the class half-heartedly, a typical case of a bully who harasses his friends. He also enjoyed a game called Legend Online. He goes up to a classmate, a pretty unfit boy named Lee Jung, and says that he should raise his character in his stead. Lee gives a haphazard yes, and Park takes this as confirmation. That day, he became Park's game shuttle, and his grades fell because of this. Park also asked him frequently for his personal money, dumping it in the game. Because of this, Lee's stress reached a peak, and he lashed out at Park, saying he should take care of it from now on. That was the first time Kim saw violence committed in front of his eyes. He didn't want any trouble, but Lee used to help him with his studies every now and then. He couldn't just watch. He tries to go there, but a classmate stops him, saying that if he messes with Park, it would be like digging his own grave. Kim knew of the consequences, but still went, as he wasn't that bad at sports, and didn't fall behind in the boys' pecking order. Since the teacher came shortly after, the situation was roughly handled. But ever since that day, Park and his gang have bullied Kim constantly. Every day, he was dragged around, and without a day to recover, he was beaten senseless. It was hell. There was no other way to describe his situation. It cuts back to the present day, where Park has just been punched. He tries to react, but Kim swiftly grabs his hand and smashes it into a table, causing him to bleed profusely. He smacks Park around, thinking about how he engraved this situation in his head as he fell comatose. He notes that Park has a typical fighting style, relying solely on his physique. He is not used to being hit, so he will surely fall after just one attack. It seems that Kim has calculated everything, endlessly simulating this exact scenario in his head all these years. He throws Park at the lockers, bashing him constantly with his leg. He looks sinisterly at Park, thinking of all the people waiting to beat him. A chair suddenly gets thrown in his direction, the perpetrators being Park's clique. They scream for him to stop, but Kim nonchalantly looks at them, saying he doesn't want to. A gigantic dude walks to Kim's location, Kim noting that this is called Park Min-chul's gang, only because he takes the lead when bullying the kids. But the guy that's in front of him is the strongest, Kang Chang. They look at each other, but suddenly a girl rushes into the class, saying that the teacher is coming. They leave, vowing revenge on their leader. While class is in session, Park thinks about what happened, Noting how hard he was beaten, he vows to kill Kim. The other guys in his gang are going to gather here once class ends. Park thinks that he had his guard down. There's no way a nerd like him beat him fair and square. Even though he was the class president and would stop Parks' bullying now and then, he never crossed the line. But today he did, leaving Park to think about how he should deal with Kim. Inside another class, members of Park's gang discuss the fight, noting how carelessly Kim acted. It seems they also had something planned for him already. One asks if someone spread rumors about the stories. But whatever the reason is, Kim has looked down on them in front of everyone. If they leave it like that, people won't take them seriously anymore. So even if they have received the request, they will use this opportunity to trample on him. Kang was boiling at the thought. Inside Kim's class, the teacher leaves, causing Park to rise from his seat, prepared to take Kim down. He does not get the chance, however, as Kim acts first, landing a flying kick directly in his face. He grabs Park's head, saying they should continue where they left off. It seems that this won't end well for Park. With class finished, the gang rises from their seats and leaves for Kim's classroom, prepared to beat him. When they get there, however, a lot of people are gathered at the windows, looking in. Jung, the dark-haired one, immediately knows what is going on and rushes into the class. It is too late, however, as Kim has beaten Park out of commission, his blood splattering on their clothes. Kong rushes Kim, who thinks that this guy is the only problem he has. What should be done? The answer is simple. Fighting dirty, he grabs one of the locks nearby and smashes it into Kang's head, knocking the dude out cold. The other two stare in shock, but Kim is not done, as he pounces on the one with long hair, throwing him on the ground in the process. Kim punches him constantly, not worried about the one behind him. It's better to finish this guy, Cho, once and for all if he wants to win this fight where he is outnumbered. Kim closes in on him, looking at him with deadly eyes. He prepared for a long time for this battle, but it seems that his body isn't fit enough to follow through. Still, he perseveres, having to take out one more person. He turns his attention to Jung, who is now scared to his wits. He notes that Kim wasn't this strong before, seeing him as some sort of demonic creature emanating a terrifying aura. Kim approaches him and prepares a punch, intending to knock this guy out. A teacher comes just in the nick of time, saving Jung, who is reassured at this, thinking that Kim is doomed. The teacher takes him to the teacher lounge, bashing him for his attitude. He thinks that this is a big problem because, as his advisor, he will have to take responsibility. If he doesn't want to get involved, he has to put all the blame on Kim. He continues to bash Kim, saying that in all these years he's been teaching, he has never seen someone like him. Kim interrupts him, calmly saying that he should not overreact, as this is not the first incident of violence in school. Kim says he can use that skill of his to bury things without escalating them. He wants the teacher to bury the case for him so he won't get in trouble. The teacher, having had enough of this disrespectful behavior, slaps Kim, causing the other teachers to notice. Kim thinks about all this. This is why he died, not because of the harassment, but because of cowardly adults who were too busy with something else. He remembers clearly how this teacher, Chul, lived as a teacher, taking bribes constantly, a piece of trash that can't be called human. Kim warns him, saying he should stop. If he doesn't, he will tell the others about the bribes he's been receiving from parents, especially from Jung's parents. Even with that out, he has other things to say, for example, about the affair he is having with the English teacher. It seems that Kim has full control of this situation. In the past, he tried to go to a teacher for help, this exact one in fact. But it seems like he dodged the responsibility altogether, not punishing the bullies at all. For snitching, they beat Kim again and again, with the teacher only noticing this once. Kim thought this would solve all of his problems, but the teacher only turned his face away from the situation, ignoring it completely. After that, he tried to solve this matter alone, fighting them for a chance at peace. But he was physically and numerically beaten. He did land a hit, however, and even that was used against him, as Jung used this opportunity to cause even more trouble for Kim. Even on the school violence committee, he took the punishment alone, but after the coma, he realized he can't take revenge with just his strength. Even adult intervention must be resolved, so that he can take revenge in the truest sense of the word. The teacher is shocked at how much he knows, looking around to see if anybody has heard his words. Kim proclaims that from now on, when he speaks to him, he should think carefully before speaking. Kim tells him even more information, including the fact that he was introduced to Jung's parents through a university senior, thus taking care of Jung even before he entered school. As a reward, he receives a payment every month. And the affair he's been having with the English teacher, who is a married woman with 3 children, even knowing the motel they frequent. He sits down, warning the teacher about his situation. Even if he has to quit school, Kim will be sure to trample on his life. He remembers that by the time he was in his 3rd year, the affair had been revealed, and his wife had come to school to slap him vigorously. It was also rumored that the wife owned most of the stuff they shared. And if that's true, Kim can monopolize on his fear of this being found out. The teacher bows his head, defeatedly asking for Kim's commands. Kim says that it's simple. He should still be living like trash in the future, But instead of working for Jung and his friends, he will now only cover up Kim's incidents. If he follows these instructions until the day he graduates, Kim will never reveal his secrets. The teacher bows once again, saying he will try his best. With this card set, he must think of another one swiftly. But before that, he has something to finish. Walking to Jung's class while thinking this. Inside, Jung is furious at the events of today, but calms down, thinking that the teacher won't let this matter go, as he is on his parents' payroll. He wonders if the others caught him being scared of Kim, causing him to throw the chair across the classroom, much to the dismay of his classmates. He sits down, thinking that if he had the opportunity to fight Kim again, he would surely win. His prayers seem to have been answered as Kim opens the door to the classroom, saying they have some unfinished business. Kim punches him instantly, throwing him across the room. He approaches Jung, who is now immobilized with fear. The only thing he can do is watch. Kim beats him constantly, causing Jung to think he is a lunatic. A ray of hope appears when the teacher spots this fight occurring, but as in the past, only now with the roles reversed, he walks away. Kim has won this battle. 5 minutes before all of this, the teacher sits down, wondering how he can bury this incident. It seems impossible to bury it, however, as this is an incident where 3 students were sent to the hospital. The school would also want this situation to not escalate, but that requires punishing Kim in some way. The parents would make a fuss if he didn't. Especially Jung's parents will not turn a blind eye when it comes to their son. They are influential and wealthy people, owning several residential complexes. They also didn't spare any financial support required by the school. The recent renovation was mostly done through their donation, and he also received money from them. There's no escaping their wrath if they find out. He desperately thinks of what to do, and comes to the conclusion that the only thing he can really do is separate Jung from the incident entirely. Kim has yet to mess with him, so his parents might be convinced to sit on the sidelines in this particular case. He rises from his seat, rushing to Kim with this idea. His hopes seem to have been crushed, however, as he sees Kim beating the snot out of Jung. He reluctantly turns away from the situation. Jung's parents be damned. If his relationship with the English teacher gets revealed, everything will be over for him. Inside the classroom, Kim gets mad that such weak people were looking down on him, noting that in the past, these guys always used to say that he was bullied so much because he was weak. But now, Jung is trembling so much, and he only just started. He lets go of Jung and sits down. Kim thinks about this, noting that once he messed with Jung, this incident is almost impossible to cover. He knows this, but if he were to choose his opponents in this revenge, he wouldn't have punched Park the moment he returned. Rather, he would have avoided all conflict and instead lived a peaceful life. But after going through a hellish life as a vegetative person, he only dreamed of revenge, and this is the result of it. There will be an uproar soon, with so many people sent to the hospital. The principal wants to make Bright Prospects High School into a prestigious one, so he would try hard to punish Kim for this incident. Even so, a lot of people witnessed what occurred, so he can't cover it up. If he can't handle this school in the first place, he won't be able to dream of the revenge he had in mind. This is only the beginning. Kim gets dragged into a meeting, and the principal talks about what he did with no signs of remorse. Considering this a heinous crime, most of the teachers agree that something must be done, even the English teacher who is having an affair. She tries to suggest expulsion, but her lover nudges her, thinking that if he gets expelled, it's over for them. He looks at Kim, who is knowingly smirking. The teacher tries to protect Kim, saying that he was the first to be bullied in the first place, and that he wanted to catch them in the act. But Kim must have been unable to endure this, and did what he did. Kim was a victim before he was